Week 9, Part 2, Reading 18.1, Revisiting Self-Review. In Project 1, we completed self-review of our literacy narrative. For Project 2, we will self-review our expository overviews. Many of the same elements will apply, but review always needs to take place with the specific assignment in mind. When a rubric or an overview of the evaluation expectations is available, be sure to keep those considerations in mind too. We can start with the same general checklist and add or highlight elements as needed. Here's the list from our 7.1 self-review reading. First page formatting, 1-inch margins, pagination, double spacing, standard font and size, title, centered, not bolded or underlined, no extra line after it, signal phrases, in-text citations, paragraph indentions, references, and any other basics of the assignments. All these general considerations remain, but because the literacy narrative did not require source material and the expository overview does require source material, items related to formatting source material in MLA become an important element in our checklist. Reading your paper first specifically for checklist items is still a great approach. As part of your first read for the expository overview, highlight all source material. Every time source material is used, you should see a signal phrase introducing the source and author, and an in-text citation with a page or paragraph number letting the reader know the source material is done. If the material is in the form of a direct quote, quotation marks should also be included. An in-text citation with page, paragraph, or header is required for direct quotes and summarized or paraphrased material. For every instance of source material you locate, immediately check to see if the source is included on the reference page. Also check the formatting of the reference so that your works cited page is error-free. Check other MLA-related formatting expectations like pagination and margins while you read for the specific requirements of source attribution. The first read will also include you looking at word count and spacing and any other layout requirements. You can delete the highlighting once you have read for formatting details. Once you have reviewed and edited formatting, prepare to read your expository overview in full in one sitting. Reviewing the readings on the P2 overview and outlining the expository overview is a helpful way to bring elements like genre and the intellectual skills of the assignment to the top of your mind before you read. The first goal is simply to make sure that your paper fulfills the assignment requirements. You are also reading for general revision, which aims to make your paper better by improving elements like transitions, word choice, tone, and content. Also read to cut any excess material in order to avoid wordiness and repetition and to achieve concision and clarity. Once you know your product is solid, you can add your own creative touches in an effort to advance from a solid submission to a solid gold submission. Make that green and gold. Turning a paper that fulfills the assignment into a paper that deserves an A generally takes more than 2 rounds of review. No credit is earned simply for submitting work. That is required. No credit is earned simply for fulfilling the assignment. That is required. University-level work is graded for content, not completion, which means that instead of starting at 100% for submitting anything and losing points, all submitted assignments start at 0% and earn points for what they do and what they do well. Realistically, writing is recursive, which means that you are revising while you write each paragraph and reading multiple paragraphs at a time for edits before the paper is complete. Those iterative edits are important, but they are not revision. Until all those steps and sections have been put together into a final submission, you cannot step back and read your paper as a whole product in order to evaluate how to revise and improve the submission. Once your expository overview is complete, upload it to USF Writes and complete self-review. Like Project 1, after you complete self-review in USF Writes, you will discuss what you learned from reviewing your paper. You will also state 3 specific edits you made to your expository overview and how each improved the sentence or paragraph and the overall submission. Revisiting self-directed supplements. In Project 1, we located individual resources based on our individual needs for assessment. The practice is intended to allow you to take advantage of the opportunity to fill in any gaps in your learning that could impact your advancement within and beyond ENC 1101. In addition to learning the content, another objective is to support the development of self-directed learning as a skill that grounds self-efficacy, believing in your abilities. Just as we have discussed the assigned and unassigned aspects of the writing process, unassigned expectations exist in all areas of learning and life. If no one makes you brush your teeth, you will probably do it anyway because you know that there is value to it. Self-directed learning is the dental hygiene of learning. At any point in your learning, you are free to look up things you don't know and supplement the course material. In fact, the internal drive and intellectual curiosity that fuels self-directed learning is what sets high achievers apart. Internal motivation is closely connected to the conscientiousness that we recognize and the foundational competency impacting success. While it might feel like you are either born with or without that deep drive, we know better. It can be developed. In other words, if you struggled to care about your work previously, or even if you struggle to prioritize your schoolwork, or to try as hard as you can, that does not mean that you can't shift that behavior. Even when you don't have control over other elements of your learning, you have control over how hard you work and how much you care. Effort and attitude matter. Taking charge of your learning is a practice that will greatly increase your academic and personal success, and it will foster the development of competencies tied to conscientiousness. When you don't try hard, you assume you won't do well, and you can't invest in the outcome because you know you won't do well because you didn't try. Sometimes we don't try hard because we are even more afraid to try hard and fail than not to try hard, which gives us an excuse when we don't do well. To start, never be ashamed of trying hard and failing. Lessons like this are easy to learn when we are participating in extracurricular activities, but learning is so deeply personal that fear of failure runs far deeper. Starting to take your learning into your own hands instead of blaming anyone or anything else can be the most empowering thing you will ever do, and practices like self-directed learning through individual identification of gaps in understanding and location of resources is a great way to start or advance that practice. Individual learning driven by internal motivation has no external accountability or support, which means that you get to practice learning by yourself for yourself. You brush your teeth because you want clean teeth, so you do it well and without oversight or regulation. Our self-directed supplement assignment in Project 2 is the same as Project 1. You can't reuse your own resource, but you might have seen a peer's post about a topic you want to learn about too. Feel free to search for a resource on topics ranging from commas to critical thinking. You can just pick something to post to fulfill the assignment, or you can take the opportunity to learn something useful and to develop a practice for deep learning. Assignment 18.1. Upload and review your expository overview using the tools and the feedback rubric in USF Writes, and then complete the following. 1. After you complete your self-review, write and upload one paragraph discussing what you learned from reviewing your paper and how you plan to edit your submission in response to the review process. 2. List 3 sentence-level edits or changes you made after self-review with the original sentences and the revised sentences. For each, describe the typo or error or improvement, why you made the change, and how it strengthened your expository overview. 3. List 3 higher-order revisions you made after self-review with the original sentences and the revised sentences. For each, describe the revision, why you made the change, and how it strengthened your expository overview. 4. Link and summarize one supplement you engaged at any point in Project 2 and explain what you learned from the resource and why it will stick. For more help with MLA formatting, citing sources, and including citations, look at the links below and embedded throughout the reading. This is the end of reading 18.1.